What's going on, guys? On today's project, we're taking this nasty basement floor and we're gonna turn it into this.
And I want to give a huge thanks to Metro Floor for sending us the LVP flooring for this project.
Let's get into the video.
What's up, guys? In the past couple episodes in the basement finishing series, we framed the walls and we installed drywall, and part of that drywall process was sanding, which left a lot of dust on the floor. So the first step in actually installing LVP is to clean the floors and sweep everything up. But before we get much further, let's outline all the steps in the LVP installation process. We're gonna cover all of these steps in detail within the video, but let's start by preparing the room for LVP installation. So after sweeping, I applied some disinfectant to the floor with a mop just to kill everything. And before you can actually install LVP, you need to make sure that the floor is perfectly flat. And perfect, according to Metro Floor, means that the concrete needs to be flat within 3/16 of an inch over a 10-foot radius. Basically, you can't have any abrupt height differences between the floor or else it's not gonna sit properly. My basement was pretty flat all the way throughout except for one section, and for this section, I had to apply a self-leveling underlayment, which you basically are just gonna mix up, apply a primer, and then let it kind of level out on its own. After applying the self-leveling underlayment, give it a few days to make sure all the moisture evaporates. I'll have a dedicated video for this later on. And lastly, you wanna make sure there's no water infiltrating up through the slab. Water is a no-no under the LVP, so follow the manufacturer's instructions on the maximum moisture levels that can be present in the slab. And finally, if you're doing this in an existing room, you might need to remove existing carpet or flooring and remove the baseboards. Do that now. Next up, we're gonna position spacers around the room. Because LVP is a floating floor, it needs to expand and contract freely. So you wanna maintain a 1/4 inch expansion gap around the entire room, and I got these spacers from an LVP installation kit, which I'll link in the description, and I just taped these all around the room. Like almost every project, a good LVP flooring installation starts with planning. As a rule of thumb, you want to have a 6-inch stagger at each end joint, and that's illustrated here. Sometimes you might need to trim on one side of the room to get that minimum of 6 inches on the other side. Another rule of thumb is you don't want to have a small sliver at the end of a row. So if you find yourself in a position where if you start with a full LVP tile on one side and you end up with a sliver on the other, you're going to want to cut some of that first one to make the end one longer. You can check out my blog if you want more information on the planning process, and also check out the resources Metro Floor has so that you can plan a layout that works for your room. Now at this point, we can install the first row of LVP. For my basement renovation project, I use Metro Floor's Engage Inception product line, and honestly, it was super easy to install. It's waterproof, it has a lifetime residential warranty, and my favorite part is it comes with an underlayment on the bottom, because for my LVP upstairs, I didn't have the attached underlayment, and installing that separately is a pain in the butt. I'll link Metro Floor's products down in the description. Start with the groove edge facing towards the middle of the room and the tongue edge facing the wall. Here's a look at the groove edge and here's a look at the tongue edge. And the tongue edge will interlock with the groove edge as shown to give you a waterproof and solid interlocking mechanism. So for the second piece, I'm taking the tongue, inserting it into the groove and letting it interlock. Now for the next piece, you're gonna insert the long edge first, and then the short end is gonna overlap the previous board. Then use a rubber mallet to interlock those two boards along the short edge. The manufacturer recommends that you install LVP in kind of this stair step 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern, but I personally like to do one full row and then just go and do the next row. As you can see here, I'm interlocking the long edge first and then the short edge, and then using a rubber face mallet to interlock the short edge. The beauty of LVP is that it's very redundant, and once you have this process down of interlocking the long edge and then the short edge, you're just going to repeat this process over and over again. At the end of the row here, I need to make a small cut on the end, and to cut LVP, you're going to take a carpenter square and a utility knife to score the face of the LVP, and then you're going to snap it along the scored line. Then flip the board over and cut the underlayment. For cuts that are that small, you might want to use a miter saw to make it easier, but that's why I had to use pliers to get the leverage to actually snap it along the scored line. After completing the first 2 rows, I had to make my first creative cut to get around the door jamb there, and to do that, I used a carpenter square to mark the geometry. This is just going to be a small notch that I need to cut out, and for cuts like this, I highly recommend that you use a jigsaw. Based on my experience, this is by far the best tool for the job. After cutting that piece, I positioned it in place, and I'm going to be installing an LVP transition in the middle of that door threshold there, which I'm going to show a little bit later. Then I'm just continuing on with that row, interlocking the tongue edge with the groove edge, and then just like before, I'm going to interlock the short joint with a rubber mallet. As I install this row, I want to mention that there's a tapping block that comes with the LVP installation kit that's going to help you to make sure that your interlocks are perfect. As we get to the other side of the door, here's the second notch we're going to have to cut out, and after making that cut, we position it in place just like before, interlocking the tongue into the groove and sliding it right in there. As we get to the end of this row, I want to demonstrate one more time how to cut the final piece of LVP to length. What I usually do is I take a tape measure and I make a measurement maintaining a 1/4 inch gap at the wall, and then I measure to the end of the short joint. You can also just position a board in place and mark it that way, but make sure that you flip the board around so that the tongue is always interlocking with the groove. After marking the line, use your carpenter square as a straight edge and then score along the face of the LVP. I had to flip my square around because it wasn't long enough, but I really should have just gone out and purchased a larger square. Next, flip the LVP over and snap it along the scored line, and then take your utility knife and cut the underlayment. That's the easiest way to cut it, in my opinion. Now, install the short piece just like before and use a tapping block to interlock everything perfectly. Now, if you guys are okay with it, I'm going to time lapse through the last few rows until we get to the final row of LVP, where we're going to need to rip it down width-wise to make it fit. So as we get to the last row, I always like to vacuum up because usually if there's any dust, I just push it to the end. And then I'm measuring here the width we're going to need for that final row. Next, I'm going to go ahead and transpose that measurement onto my piece of LVP. I'm going to use another board as a straight edge to mark it, and then you're simply going to cut the LVP to the correct width using a circular saw. Make sure you adjust the saw cut depth and put a piece of cardboard or protection underneath to protect your blade. After cutting it to the right width, install it in place and use a pull bar that came with the LVP Floor Installation Kit to pull everything tight and get it interlocked the way it should be. So at this point, we've completed the first room in the basement, and now I have to move on and apply LVP to the second room. But what I did is I used a laser level to make sure that the planks in each room were going to line up along the seam. Let me show you what I mean. So as you can see, I'm using this laser level to establish the starting line for the first row of LVP in the next room, and then I snapped the chalk line so I didn't have to worry about bumping that laser level. Now that I have my starting line, we can start to lay the first row of planks. As you can see here, I'm going to have to cut a notch around that closet, both there and in the corner, and then I measured and marked the cutouts with a Sharpie before cutting them out with my jigsaw. After cutting out those notches, I positioned the first piece of LVP in place, made sure that it was lined up with the chalk line we snapped, and then I continued with the installation process. As you can see here towards the end, I'm going to score and snap this last piece so that it lines up perfectly with that transition molding that we're going to install in between the door threshold, and then I simply continued on with the installation process up towards the door. These couple rows were tough because I was basically going backwards, inserting the groove end into the tongue, but with a little bit of patience, you can make it work. And then for these last rows, I had to use the pull bar, obviously, to get the interlock. Once I finished that row, I got some help for these remaining rows, which made it go by super fast. Now, we have this support column in the middle of the basement here, and this is where you need to measure beforehand because you need to ensure that you're gonna land in the middle between two planks, because if you land in the center of a board, you're never gonna be able to get that on there. So to mark this cutout, I had this roll of tape that was just about the same diameter as that support column, so I marked that, and then I used my jigsaw just like before to cut that out. After getting that half circle cut out on the first board, I positioned it in place around the pole and got everything interlocked. As you can see, a pretty good fit. And then I finished out that row so I could cut out the other half circle for the other side of that support column. So again, I marked it the exact same way, cut it out with my jigsaw, and then I positioned it in place around the pole. Overall, it was a pretty good fit. Obviously, you're gonna have a slight gap between the pole and the LVP, and to seal that up, I just used some caulk. So after we got through the support column, it was really just a matter of plugging and chugging until we got to the end here, inserting the tongue into the groove and continuing all the way, making sure that all of our edges are interlocking properly. Now at this point, I'm measuring for the last row, and to be honest with you, this last row is a lot thinner than I would like, but because of where the support column landed in the basement, we had to make do with this. In a perfect world, you would cut a little bit off of the first row, and then you would split the difference between this row and that row. But this is about 4 inches or so we can make it work. I'm installing this last row here, and obviously for the last row, you're gonna need to use the pull bar to get it to interlock properly. Next up, I'm gonna show you how to install MetroFloor's transition moldings. There are many different types of moldings, but they're primarily used to transition from one type of flooring to another. To install the transition moldings, you're first going to measure how long it needs to be, and then you're going to cut the aluminum track to size using a miter saw. To transition between the two rooms, I'm using a T-molding since the floor is at the same height in both rooms, and you're just going to cut the T-molding to the correct length. Next, position the mounting track in place and mark the screw locations. And because we're on a slab, we need a hammer drill and a carbide tip masonry bit to drill into the concrete. Insert the concrete screw anchors into the holes you pre-drilled, and these came with Metro Floor's transition moldings, and you're going to do this for all the holes that you pre-drilled. Next, I use some adhesive and I position the track in place before screwing it down. Then you're going to take your T-molding and it's going to snap right into the track, and use a hammer to make sure it snaps properly. Over here at the door, I'm going to install another transition, but this is going to be an end cap since it's where the flooring is going to end. Just like before, we're going to cut the transition molding and the track to the right length, then pre-drill your holes and insert the screw anchors just like before. Then use some adhesive, push the track into place and screw it in just like we did for the T-molding. And finally, I'm measuring the width for that last piece of LVP, ripping it down to size, inserting it in place, interlocking it with the other board, and using the pull bar to make sure it interlocks properly. And just like for the T-molding, you're going to take your end cap molding and press it into place within the track, making sure that it snaps into place properly. And as a final touch, I ran a bead of caulk between the threshold and that transition molding. Here's how it looks. And at this point, all there's left to do is install the baseboards. So I identify the studs using a stud finder, and then I attach the baseboards to the studs every 16 inches on center using a brad nailer. And this is going to cover up that 1/4 inch expansion gap all around the room. Now let's take a quick reminder look of where we started. And here's a look at the final result. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more DIY content. I want to give one more huge shout out to Metro Floor for sending us this LVP. It really looks great in my basement and I'm glad I installed it. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you guys on the next one.